What is revisionism? Well, actually, revisionism is a belief which mushrooming in the European countries. Well, it believes that the falling of capitalism is not necessarily by way of violence, which is against the ideology of Marx and Lenin. Revisionist force actually already started in Germany after Engels died in 1895. Who is Engels? Engels was a student of Marx. While the purpose of the revisionist movement is to revise the ideas of Marxism and Engels, we're talking about Vanguardism. In the definition, Vanguardism is a political theory advocating the presence of an organization, usually a vanguard party, having a leading role in a revolutionary movement with the goal of steering in a direction consistent with its ideology. Yeah, that's right. More generally, vanguardism may refer to cooperation between avant-garde individuals advancing in any field. Innovative writers and artists are often described as being in the vanguard in development of new forms and styles of art. This time, we're talking about the key actors. One of them was Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. Well, a truly revolutionaries which came from Ulyanovsk city in Russia, close to Volga River. He was born on 22 April 1870. Well, he died on 21 January 1924. He is a revolutionary of communism ideology. He studied the Karl Marx idea known as Marxism and he modified it into communist ideology. It was Russia once a republic, called a temporary government of Russia. He saw that this constitution didn't work well for the prosperity, and then Lenin stood to be a rebel. And after that, he became the founding father of Russian Revolution. Lenin was wanted to establish the first communist state in Russia. He was criticizing the capitalism, which contained several points which are monopoly of capitalism and imperialism, and also he developed the theory of development is not balanced. Lenin noticed several outlines came characteristic of monopoly capitalist, such as the concentration of production in the hands of industry were increasingly only a few in number. This is a point which he thought it would be fixed for the society. The next and the merger of the financial and industrial capital as banks and financial institutions increasingly gained control over the allocation of capital resources. This is the phenomenon that capital is controlling more for their profit. The rise of export of capital is rather than commodities as the main form of international exchange. This is the monopoly of capitals which purpose for the big profit. Yeah, that's right. The division of the world in the economic environment that is influenced and controlled by the capitalist monopolies. He saw that the capital is always spreading and controlling in every country, which influence the dynamic of economic itself. Further divisions in the world political environment influenced by government established by capitalist countries. Rosa Luxemburg, also known as Rosalia Luxemburg. She is a Polish. She was born in Poland on 5 March 1871. She died in 15 January 1919. Well, she was a Marxist theorist, philosopher, economist, and revolutionary socialist of Polish Jewish descent who became a naturalized German citizen. She was successfully a member of the Social Democracy of the Kingdom of Poland and Lithuania, and also the Social Democratic Party of Germany, the Independent Social Democratic Party, and also the Communist Party of Germany. Due to her pointed criticism of both the Marxist and Leninist and the more moderate Social Democrat schools of socialism, Luxembourg has had a somewhat ambivalent reception among scholars and theorists of the political left. Nonetheless, some Marxists came to regard Luxembourg and Liebknecht as martyrs. She defended Marx's materialism, dialectics, and the conception of history. What did revisionism have to say about the objective development of capitalism? Well, Karl Kautzy, the ethical socialist, rejected the neo-Kantian arguments in favor of social Darwinism. The proletariat had to be recognized in 1893 and in 1910 to 1911 before a precondition they could act. These formed the substantive form of arguments with Rosa Luxemburg in 1911 when the seriously fell out, but Kautzy saw, as Luxemburg did, that was true for the radicals, Lenin and Porfir's in Russia. It was not necessarily so true in Germany. Kautsky was older than her, well, more cautious, reading mass strikes as adventurism, but radical quantitative change for the working class would lead Luxembourg into age of revolution itself, which she thought had arrived yet. She was determined to push capitalism to its limits to develop class consciousness. Our team had chosen the PRC's economic ideology revolution in the era of Mao Zedong as the case study. As back in the history, China was known as a republican state which was ran by a president. Republican government was ran by yuan voted from political parties as a result from the election. And after that, Sun Yat-sen was also become the temporary president on 29 December 1911 until 10 March 1912. And after that, Mao Zedong came to power in 1949 and he changed the China into a communist state and launched the Cultural Revolution. Cultural Revolution was a social political movement that took place in PRCs from 1966 until 1976. Set in motion by him, Mao Zedong, the chairman of the Communist Party, stated goal was to preserve true communist ideology in the country by clearing the idea of capitalism and traditional elements from Chinese society and to reimpose Maoist thought as the dominant ideology within the party. The revolution marked the return of Mao Zedong to a position of power after the Great Leap Forward. The movement paralyzed China politically and significantly affected the country economically and socially. He insisted that these revisionists be removed through the violent class struggle. China's youth responded to Mao's appeal by forming Red Guard groups around the country. The movement spread into the military, urban workers, and the Communist Party leadership itself. It resulted in the widespread factional struggles in all walks of life. In the top leadership, it led a mass purge of senior officials, most notably Liu Shaoqi and Deng Xiaoping. During the same period, Mao personality cult grew to immense proportion. Millions of people were prosecuted in the violent struggle that ensued across the country and suffered a wide range of abuses, including public humiliation, arbitrary imprisonment, torture, sustained harassment, and seizure of property. A large segment of population were forcibly displaced, most notably the transfer of urban youth to rural regions during the dawn of countryside movement. Historical relics and the artifacts were destroyed. Cultural and religious sites were ransacked. Well, revisionists figured out that if the capitalists fall in a country, the people will get a better economy by running the socialism directly, easily. It was more likely evolution. People should adopt the socialism without harm, violence, or even force. Better plan and stages will slowly change efficiently the situation. After the capitalist fall and the asset of the country handled by the young communist country, the result was a poor, devastating year, just like Mao's did. And today, China became the country's progress recognized by the world economy through the free markets and the capitalist system with a pragmatic and realist ideology. There are still communist stream inside the government, but it was modified and become the fact that leader couldn't force the people for the communist idea itself. Well, today China became more developed far beyond its past than the era of Mao Zedong.
Good to see you come around. I know you've been lost. I'm glad you got found, 'cause I've been a little